Good evening. I call the September 21st, 2022 Apple Valley Planning Commission meeting to order. The first item of business is the approval of the agenda. Any changes from staff?
Staff had no changes.
From the commissioners?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Diekman and seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The next item of business is the approval of the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered routine and will be enacted with a single motion without discussion unless a commissioner or citizen requests to have an item separately considered. It will then be moved to the land use action items for consideration. Can I get approval for the minutes of August 17th, 2022?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Diekman and seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is public hearings number 4. At this time, we have canceled for tonight's public hearing, and we are going to have a motion for a reschedule for October 19th, 2022. Can I have a motion to change?
Madam Chair, I move that we continue the public hearing to the October 19th meeting.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Diekman, seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 5 is the land use action items, and this is the floor and decor with Tom Lovelace.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. What you have before you tonight is 2 items, zoning amendments. This is the first item to add building material sales store as a permitted use within plan development numbers 507 zone 1, and then also increase the building coverage within that zone from 20% to 30%, and then also site plan building permit authorization to allow for an 80,000 square foot building. Again, the site is located, it's the old Apple Valley Carmike site located on the east side of Cedar Avenue, just north of 157th and south of 155th Street. Site is comp plan guided for commercial and is zone plan development 507 zone 1. The use is consistent with the comprehensive plan, but is inconsistent with the current zoning, hence the need for the 2 zoning amendments. This is part of the Carroll Center final 4th edition plat. You can see the lot, somewhat of a odd configuration with that kind of panhandle to the north of the site, where there is parking located on that northern portion. These are the existing conditions. Again, 72,000, 73,000 square foot theater on the south end with a parking lot directly adjacent to the theater, and then the other parking lot, as I mentioned, additional parking in the Panhandle area. It's adjacent there also as part of the Red Robin restaurant and Holiday gas station. They're looking to demo the site, to remove the building, remove the parking, and then also remove some storm sewer as some of the highlights there, and then some of the driveways within the location. One thing that needs to be addressed is an existing public drainage and utility easement, located on the site. You can see the area in red is the location of that easement area, and that will need to be vacated because the proposed building will be going over that. They already have made application for that easement vacation, and that will be heard or considered by the City Council on October 13th. This is the site plan. Again, the same what we've seen at the last meeting. Location is on the south end of that area of the existing lot, there would be 2 infiltration areas on both the south and the north end, with some new parking along the north and the west side of the building. The main entrance will be along the west side of the building. Access will be off of 2 existing driveways off of Gaslight Drive, with the loading dock area located on the east side of the building. One thing that was discussed and questions were raised, well, this is almost an 80,000, this is an 80,000 square foot building, and what's out there is, depending on who you talk to, is between a 60 to 70,000 square foot theater. And there was, I know, some discussion at the last meeting about it doesn't look like it's as big as that, but the 80,000 square foot building. But as you can see, the building, we kind of colored in the building to show where the existing building and where the proposed building is going to be. And so it kind of gave you some, I guess, some perspective on how the building is going to be oriented and the size of that building. So I know that there was just some discussion that it was hard to kind of lay your eyes on that and see that, well, it didn't look like it was as big a building as the theater. And the one thing that in doing this exercise for the Planning Commission, we did realize that depending on if you took the information from the Dakota County GIS or information that was provided by the applicant, that building was already over the 20% maximum building coverage allowed. So we won't go into why that happened, because I can't really tell you, but it did occur. So this is the grading plan. Again, it's a site that's already location of a building and parking area. So there will be minimal grading that will need to be done just to prepare the site for the new building and the parking area, and for the infiltration areas, and then also the laying of the storm sewer and other utilities related to this. Just wanted to show you this. This is the utility plan. There are utilities already to the site. They'll just need to make those connections. The one thing that I wanted to show is that as part of the development, the area that's kind of highlighted in the dashed line will be a new public drainage and utility easement that they will need to dedicate. And then that will have to be part of, recorded with their deed. So we have that as a perpetual easement. Because there is no final plat contained with this, there is no requirement for any final platting with this, that's the process that they'll have to go through. This is the landscape plan. They did a pretty good job of providing for some additional landscape, but I think there are still opportunities to add some landscaping to help to screen the area along Gaslight, because again, that is located directly adjacent to residential, and we'd like to see a little bit more landscaping to help screen the areas where you have your loading dock as well as your trash enclosure on that side, always kind of softening those types of uses to any residential, and then some opportunity to add some landscaping along the Cedar Avenue side between the parking and the roadway itself. As I mentioned, I think in the staff report, there are a lot of private utilities within that area. However, so you're not probably looking at substantial trees or anything like that, even though there already are trees existing at that location, but maybe some other type of shrubs or something like that, just to help to soften the area along there. These were the elevations that you saw the last time. I know it was a little hard to see what the kind of blending of the different colors that were shown as part of the proposal that they submitted to us. It just didn't translate into the slides that you saw. So this is a little bit better. I blew them up a little bit more, but it helps a little bit. But then they did provide, and this one's a little light, but it did provide the different types of colors that you're going to see in the types of materials that they're proposing. I think it probably came out better in the report than it does on the overhead here. So with that, they appear to have made the changes that were asked of them. And so we are recommending approval of the amendments as well as recommending approval of the site plan building permit authorization, subject to the conditions contained within the staff report. And I can take any questions, and there are also two representatives here from Floor and Decor that can answer any questions as you have them.
Thank you, Tom. And that is Commissioner Scanlon.
Madam Chair, Tom, I had a couple of questions. When you're calculating the parking, you're also calculating the parking for that north wing
Yes,
is part of that?
yep.
And therefore, that should be included in the, can you bring up the landscaping, please?
The pardon?
Landscaping view, overhead? There.
Well, there'll be nothing that will, there's no additional landscaping. They've already got the landscape islands there in that area, so I don't think any additional landscaping, I mean, it is what it is right now.
I'm not sure what it is in terms of what that can do to help provide screening from that north side of the building, which is going to be limited by the infiltration basin.
Well, there is so along the north side, just north of the infiltration basin, that's the common driveway that they share with Red Robin. And then the parking on that north or the panhandle area, that will be left undisturbed, so the condition will exist there. I think they probably do a pretty good job with the landscaping around the infiltration basin to help soften anything on the north side, but then you also have the buildings, the Red Robin as well as Holiday, for anything that may be impacted at 155th Street or at Gaslight. It appears that they do a pretty good job of screening that area or providing for the landscaping to soften that.
Okay. And then I had a question with the front of the building on the south end. What is that? I couldn't find what that little bump out is by the customer pickup.
Right at the southwest corner there?
Yeah. You have the loading area for customers, but then there's this little bump out area, and I didn't see what that's for.
Southeast corner,
Southeast, or excuse me, southwest.
isn't it?
Southwest.
Southwest corner.
So where it's crosshatch here, that's kind of the pickup area, I believe. And then
Right.
if it's that bump out area, that little rectangle there, is that what you're asking? That's the main entrance to the building.
Okay.
I do have one, I can't,
I thought, my mistake. All right. I thought the main entrance was, no, there, right there where you have the pointer.
that's the main entrance.
No.
No,
No, excuse me, this is the main entrance, I apologize. You know what, why don't we ask the applicant to answer that question?
entrance to the CPU. So
Customer pickup.
Come up and introduce yourself.
My name is Kelton McCoy. I work for CenterPoint Integrated Solutions. We represent Floor and Decor on the development side. So that is the actual personable entrance to the CPU. So you get out of your truck and then go walk in, and then to the right of that is where you would back your truck up. The forklift would come out, load your tile, be on your way.
Makes sense.
And the CPU, just, what is that?
Customer pickup.
Customer pickup.
so is that just like a glass enclosure of some type, or what is that? Because I can't.
The
tell.
entrance, like a sliding glass door. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see, we're-
Yeah, right there. If you can see that small door there in the bottom right with the canopy over the top.
Makes sense.
No, we can't,
That's a better view right there.
but you can see it with the clear door there.
Yep.
And then to the right is the actual overhead door that will slide up and down where the product will come out of.
Okay.
So, okay, you got the sliding doors there, but what is to the right of the, just to north of that? What is, you have
The
that
area
red
that I
line with the
identified
customer.
as the entrance.
You have the entrance for the a customer pickup, but I'm trying to understand what the structure on the outside is.
Saying north of the red.
Exterior containers, correct?
Yeah, lockers.
Lockers.
Yep. So those are lockers. I'm not even sure that this will continue. This was a program they did during COVID, and it was for smaller orders. They had lockers you'd purchase, and then they would put your product in there. You'd pull up, grab it. If that's an issue, we can definitely take that away, because I'm not even sure that that program is being run anymore by Floor and Decor. So
Is that
that's,
what normally flow into our front of the building for wanting no different than gas stations with ice machines and that type of thing?
It's a good point, but I don't see, I mean, it's a fixed,
yeah, so I just actually got confirmation, I'm sorry, from Floor and Decor. Aaron Douglas is listening right now, and he said that that program is dead. So if
removed,
that's an
yeah.
issue, those will be removed for sure.
they'll
Okay,
be eliminated.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you for your clarification. And then I had one more question, Tom. On that same north end, I see there's a, looks like is that on the south side of the building, is that a rack for propane tanks?
It's propane storage.
Propane storage?
What was your
It
question?
says
Propane storage, south end of the building, there's a little bump out there?
Right here in the bottom right? Yeah.
Okay. Should that be something that should be in the back than having that in the front from view again?
Say that again.
That should be in the back of the building versus up towards the front where it's viewable? Or
So you
what?
have it on the south end, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That is essentially not in the back, but
And it's near where the pickup area would be, so if people were coming in to pick up that, so it would be in that location. Can't have it inside the building, obviously.
but,
on the back
Did
side
they-
is the loading dock too. Not
Yeah.
sure we want a whole
but
lot of.
I guess my thought was the propane is for forklifts or for internal use, not customer use?
Is that what?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so in that case, it's not for customer use,
Okay,
and
yep.
it should be in the back of the building versus up towards the front of the building?
So do you want it closer? Would you prefer that
I
it's
just- I-
closer to
I
the
would-
loading dock, or?
Well, I just prefer not having to see it, that it would be in the back where it would be by the
We can
loading
move
dock
it
area,
more
the
east
screening.
Towards, what was that?
It'd be on the west side.
Do you want it, you could move it east?
Like more towards the loading dock?
Yes,
Towards
that
the
would be,
back.
I
On
said
this
west,
same
I
wall.
think, I meant east.
Yep. I don't see how that's an issue. They would just have to come out and grab it and then come back in. It would just,
Is there a reason why it's generally there?
just because it's close to the CPU. And it's for the,
Forklift?
yep, yes ma'am.
Okay. So,
But not not a deal breaker at all, if that needs to be moved.
okay,
Just some observations
thoughts?
for consistencies.
Definitely.
And if you'd like, we just add that as a condition to the site plan building permit office.
Yeah. those
Do you
are
know what the
easy
dimensions
fixes.
of it are?
I'm not sure. We can get those to you. Definitely. You would have those? No? I know. I just generic.
I know they're not usually that big, but they end up
Yeah.
getting beat up, and next thing you know, they're rusting, and they just,
I don't think it's any bigger than like the one you see at a gas station. you
Yeah, I know
But
it.
like, yeah, they get rusty.
they don't look
Understood.
appealing after a while, so
Okay,
that was my thoughts.
done?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Maholt?
I had just noticed that when I was reviewing this, that the plan development ordinance requires that all deliveries and loading done in conjunction with the use shall be done during normal hours of operation. The letter from Floor and Decor, or kind of the memorandum, it's not dated, but it does say in the third paragraph that to avoid conflict and ensure the safety of all customers and employees, Floor and Decor makes its deliveries overnight. Items are moved directly from the trucks to the showroom floor. How will that be done in conformance with the plan development ordinance then if overnight deliveries aren't permitted?
I'm gonna have to pass that on to Aaron. Aaron, are you able to talk at all? Does he have access?
You should.
You should. Organizer? And what's his name, Eric?
Aaron Douglas.
Is Aaron wanting to talk?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we do have some solutions where we can offload trucks during the day. We do have a few locations that do not allow overnight parking. I would say that overnight deliveries for us is generally, after our business hours, and we close, I think, at 7. So it would kind of be in that 7 to 11 p.m. range would be our typical quote unquote overnight deliveries. I'm not sure exactly what the specifics to, the timelines that you guys have there, but we have solutions for situations like this, so it can be managed.
Yes, and the code is, Commissioner Maholt said, is the code is, it's normal business work, normal hours of business. And so that's when it would happen. And the reason behind that, especially with this one, is because it's directly adjacent to some residential areas, and we don't want the overnight, even if it's at 11 or not, it can be disruptive to the well-being of the residents to the east.
Understood.
Any other commissioners? No? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Commissioners?
Madam Chair, I move we recommend approval of a zoning amendment to plan development number 507 to include building material sales as permitted use in Zone 1.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Diekman. I think that was seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. Any comments?
Is this the one where we also include the increasing the building coverage?
We will.
No.
Oh, are we doing that separately?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
If not, notify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move we recommend approval of a zoning amendment to plan development number 507 to increase the building coverage from 20% to 30% in Zone 1.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Diekman, seconded by Commissioner Schindler. Any comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, I move we recommend approval of a site plan building permit authorization to allow for the construction of an 80,000 square foot building on 6.45 acres, subject to the following conditions 1 through 17 in the staff report, with the addition, friendly amendment from Commissioner Scanlon to move the propane storage to the east.
Any comments?
Second.
Second, thank you. That was moved by Commissioner Diekman and seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to other business, and I believe that is going to be Tom Lovelace.
Yes, just wanted to make everyone aware that the next Planning Commission meeting will be October 5th at 7:00 p.m. And following that will be the October 19th will be the second Planning Commission of the month. And then next City Council meetings are tomorrow at 7 p.m. and Thursday, October 13th at 7 p.m.
Thank you.
Move we adjourn. Second.
Motion to adjourn moved by Commissioner Schindler and seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned.